kind of these big, exciting texts that no one really knows
because
how to.
I studied Spanish at school and very much enjoyed doing that and was keen to continue.
Literature is perhaps is a different way of thinking about our world, and it's also a different way of presenting the same world to us.
I have Iranian heritage, but I didn't speak the language very well or know that much about the culture and the history. So when I saw that this course offered the unique opportunity to pair those two languages in which I was interested, I was very keen to take that up.
On the Middle East side, whether you're going to do Persian or Hebrew or Arabic or Turkish, these are the four main languages, you're not expected to have any background or even exposure to the language.
EMEL becomes much more flexible in the later years of the course. In your first year, when you're studying for your prelim exams, it's slightly more rigid. Everybody studies the same texts, more or less.
On the Middle East side of the course, the main emphasis is actually the languages. And then the literature becomes the focus as you move up in the degree.
Whilst we do have a lot of contact time with language classes and tutorials and lectures and things, compared to a lot of other sort of arts degrees, you're still expected to do a lot of private reading, spending time in the libraries, just getting on with work in your own time, basically.
You also have a lot of classes, so a lot of language classes and a lot of lectures and stuff, and then a couple of translations a week for French and various bits and pieces of language, and then the same for Arabic, so quite a lot of language work.
There's also something interesting we do called the bridging essay, which is basically like a thesis you have to write, but it has to be about something which bridges both of your languages.
The course is a 4-year course. Time abroad tend to be the second year, usually, and it tend to be in the Middle East country whose language you happen to study.
I know my friends on the course who've done it myself. We've really loved that experience, and it has been very formative.
Students who do EMEL tend to be students with an eye for connections and intersections and parallels in the two cultures that they are studying. The Arabic is one of the oldest established departments in the whole of UK. And that comes with a lot of resources, both human and resources at the libraries and facilities.
The obvious thing about Oxford is that you've got a million libraries. Got your college libraries, department libraries, and the BOD.
You're, in a city where you have the unique opportunity to be taught by people who are interested in the same things you are, and they're at the top of their field.
The fact that you have tutors you can talk to and that you know quite well is really helpful.
Depending on the paper I'm doing that term, I'd have a Persian tutorial on either one of the parts of literature I was studying or my history paper, something about history.
In a term, in the last year or two, has been maybe 8 to 10, I think once 12, but usually 8 to 10 essays.
And probably a Spanish tutorial as well, which will probably either be every week or every 2 weeks. For me, the main sort of investment of time comes with the literature essays, because there's not just the primary text to read, but lots of secondary critical reading to do as well. And that's, in a way, sort of an infinite amount of things you could read, which could be sort of relevant somehow. I only realised sort of relatively late on in my last years of school that such a combination was possible. And the moment I saw it, I thought, well, I have to go for that, basically.
Some interest and curiosity about cultural difference, about other cultures, some language ability or record.
I think they were kind of trying to see how you responded to not knowing stuff rather than trying to see what you knew, because the likelihood of a load of 17-year-olds knowing loads about the Middle East, I guess, is pretty small. Obviously, I read some stuff and I knew some stuff, but not huge amounts, really.
If a student's interest is piqued by this particular combination of languages, I suggest simply beginning to explore the language you know less about immediately. And Oxford has this system of open days. You can come and talk to the tutors, you can come always and talk to the students who are taking that course.
Just really think about what you're interested in, and if you're interested in the Middle East, if you're interested in language, if you're interested in literature, if you're interested in travelling, and if you're interested in working hard, this could really be the course for you.
I got the letter from Oxford and kind of opened it without much interest because I assumed I hadn't got in, and then was delighted.
I think it had been a particularly snowy year, so the post had been delayed for several days, and then it arrived, and it was quite nice because it said, "Oh, you have an unconditional offer," because I had a gap year, so I'd already done my exams and got my grades. So yeah, that was a good moment when that letter came through. I was very happy.
I want to do more study because at the end of 4 years, what you've mainly found out is how much more there is to know, and then it seems like it would be a good idea to know it.
I quite like the idea of further study, and think I'll probably end up doing that. I'll probably end up pursuing things more on the Persian side of things than the Spanish side of things.
They tend to sort of pursue their postgraduate either in a comparative context or obviously the field of international relations, the field of diplomatic, field of business too.
If you are serious about wanting to study the languages and the literature, so go for it.